Hello, Top End Rivalry supporters, friends, followers, all of the above. It is the weekly review. It's Jackson. I'm Bill. Jackson, how's your week been?
It's been long, but sun finally came out up here in the Northeast. Pennsylvania was sunny until it rained last night. Get some rain this weekend and it should come back out. So I'm enjoying it. Outside, get some sunshine.
The Why was the week so long?
It's just long work.
Uh, uh, we all have to deal with that, though, right? At
The
least
Braves had
baseball's
an
back.
off. I was gonna say the Braves played a day game on Wednesday, then had an off day on Thursday. That it felt like 2 whole days without baseball.
Well, you know what? Welcome to the new baseball schedule. It just drives you crazy,
Yeah.
right? All right, Jackson, take me through our number one. Let's dive into it today because today's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to send this over. If you're listening to it on the Bleach Brothers Radio Network, we appreciate you for doing that. If you're watching us on
All right.
YouTube, you know, we know that we do have faces made for radio, so don't worry about that. We get it. So, all right, here we go, Jackson. Let's do it.
All right. I'm gonna talk for my number one. I'm gonna talk about the National League MVP frontrunner, and it is not Pete Alonso.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Corbin Carroll for a second. Corbin Carroll is off to a red hot start. He slugged his ninth home run of the year the other night. Uh,
Yeah, we did.
right now, he's hitting 387 with a 1054 OPS. He leads the league in home runs, leads the league in total bases. He's looking like 2023 Corbin Carroll again, who was very good. I think the Diamondbacks really need that to compete in that NL West, or the Wild Wild West, as we call it on
Mhm.
this podcast. But
Yes.
Carroll's off to a great start, and I think last year he was hampered by injuries, and a lot of people kind of wrote him off. I think we're going to see, the 25, 30 home run, 50 stolen base guy again uh, for the rest of this year. As long as he stays healthy. With that massive Arizona outfield, he's fun to watch. He puts the ball in the gap.
I just talked about him on the Around the Diamond with Sam. He was one of our topics of conversation. He is having a great start to the season. He is doing things that he should be doing, and he's got a long-term deal now. The question is he ends that if they pick up the club option on him, he ends it at the end of his year 30 of his contract. He keeps putting up numbers the way that he's been putting up numbers. If I'm the Diamondbacks man, I try to extend him at about age 28 and say, let me just wrap you up for another 12 years. Here's 500 mil tickets. Let's
Yeah,
just
if
keep
if
playing for us.
if he throws up like three more seasons that are even close to his 2023 year, where he hit 25 home runs, stole 54 bases, and had an 868 OPS, it's definitely in like 3 4 years. You definitely just keep extending. How much you want. You break out that blank check because he drives the ball in the gap and he plays really well in Arizona. He's a plus defender. I know people are bullish on the power speed guys, but I think Carroll, he's only 24 right now. So barring any major injuries to his legs, his speed will play for the next
Mm-hmm.
decade or so.
Yep. Yep. No, agreed on that. Corbin Carroll is a lot better than he gets credit for. He plays for the Diamondbacks, so he doesn't get as much of that love and attention that he should. If he played in New York, he would. If he played in Boston or Chicago, he would. But he plays in Arizona. So
It it's the most of the media living on the East Coast, and it's past their bedtime when Corbin Carroll starts playing baseball. So
that might be a fair statement to make. That might be a fair statement to make. So
so
okay, I didn't think that you were going to come out with that. By the way, everybody, when you listen to these and you wonder if you listen to Around the Diamond and you say, well, gee, Bill just talked about that. Jackson and I have not communicated what our one, two, three, four, fives are. That's what makes this show so much fun. Not the fact that we have faces for radio, but the fact that we can like shock each other with our picks and our shock value. Which right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to get a face from Jackson that it's going to make you laugh, and he's not going to be happy. But I'm going to talk about my number one being the Mets, are they amazing right now? And my answer is you can't be 18-8 without being a little bit amazing. So Jackson, I know is going to say to me something about how they haven't played real teams, but Jackson, they swept the Cardinals and then they turned around and swept the Philadelphia Phillies. They won 7 in a row. That's hard to do anyways. Jackson, before I get into what some of the reasons why I think that they're being successful, go ahead and say your piece. Go ahead.
Uh, the Mets are off to a hot start. That's the simple thing. They're beating up. They got a really soft schedule to start, and they're taking advantage of it. I'm not going to come out here and say, "Oh, the Mets are bad" because they've only played bad teams. You know, good teams beat bad teams. I wasn't
Mhm.
expecting the Mets to be terrible this year. Um, I know my preseason prediction is I don't have them making the playoffs. I will stick to that because we are only 20 odd games into the season. I think what's really helped the Mets is their rotation route is pieced together with project pieces, and they've gotten off to a really good start. Their staff has a really good staff ERA. It's sub 3, um, and it's kind of clicking. But the counterpoint is you got to worry that the bats haven't really gotten going yet, aside from Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor. So that will be something to watch moving forward. But the Mets' good start definitely puts them in a really good position. Uh, the Braves started 0-7. The Phillies aren't playing good baseball, and then the Marlins and the Nationals are kind of like a coin flip on what you get. It seems like this season, either they play really good team baseball or they're not very good at all. So, I will give the Mets their flowers. They've started off hot, and I'll give David Stearns credit for picking your pitching projects right because I'm going to talk about some guys later. Spoilers that have not been good pitching signings. So I'll give them
So
credit.
I will say a couple of things about the Mets. When it comes to the Mets, I'll say a couple of things. Number one, the last couple of seasons, the Mets have not pitched and hit well at the same time. They either hit really well or they pitch really well. Um, and and I said this on Around the Diamond. If you ask a lot of the Mets fans that I know, a lot of the Mets fans that I know, they'll tell you things like, um, they'll tell you things like, well, we were surprised that we went to the National League Championship. We were surprised that blah blah blah, right? So on and so forth. We were surprised about this, or we were surprised about that. So yes, I will. When it comes to that, yeah, I'll take it. But the Mets are pitching well right now, and they're hitting well at the same time. The other thing that the Mets are doing very very well is they're having fun. They're not taking themselves too seriously. Um,
Honestly, the Mets look like what everybody thinks the Phillies are. Honestly,
yeah, great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. That is an absolute great way to
honestly,
put it.
that's the best way I can describe the Mets. They look like what everyone thinks the Phillies should be.
Yeah.
It's kind of flipped.
No, I agree. So that I'm going to tell you that I like where the Mets are at right now. Are they the best team in baseball record wise? Yes. If you the key for them, Jackson, is going to be the next 24 games. For their first 24, they did really really well, right? They were 18-8. Let's see what their next 24 are. Because if the next 24 mirror the first 24, then now you're 20 games over 500. It's really, really hard for things not to happen for them to go to the playoffs and things like that. To really blow it when you're 20 games over 500, 48 games into the season. You've done what you needed to do early on. So yeah. Um, and so yeah, before we get to number two, Jackson, I just have to let everybody know for those of you watching this on YouTube, you just witnessed TFR Gracie, one of our cats, likes to make her appearance, and so she just made her appearance. If you're listening to this on Bleacher Brothers Radio Network, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But when we record these and it's on a Saturday, listen, I'm at home. Gracie is thinking, hey, this is going to be fun. So she made her appearance. TFR Gracie in the house. So, all right, Jackson, what do you got for number two?
Number two, let's talk about bullpens. Uh,
Okay.
Around the league, for people who, if you're new to watching baseball or you don't watch a lot of other teams,
Hmm.
you probably think your bullpen is the worst bullpen in the league.
Hmm.
It can always be worse. Let me tell you, bullpens are very volatile things. I want to talk about a couple relievers that are underperforming. Devin Williams has gone to the Yankees in this trade, and it looks like he has forgotten how to get people out. Uh, his ERA sits at 11.25 through 10 appearances, and it's really kind of hurting the Yankees start. They're still up at the top of the division, but one's got a question: do the Yankees have a problem at the back end of their bullpen? Because they should probably have like 3 or 4 more wins.
Mhm. Um,
And it goes to my point that the Mets did a very good job of, people call it picking off the scrap heap, where you get all these pitchers cheap on the down low and you turn them into gold.
mhm.
Sometimes it backfires when you get the highly regarded arm. Your gold kind of loses its luster because bullpens can be very volatile. So I don't know. Is there closer controversy in the Bronx, Bill? I guess it's a question.
25 games into it, I don't know that I'm going to call anything controversy yet. Now, in the Bronx, 3 games. I mean, then when you play in the Bronx, it's next level controversy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're trying to say there. I get what you're throwing down. I'm not necessarily picking it up, but I get what you're throwing down.
He's allowed more as many earned runs. It's 3 times as many runs as he allowed last year. Last year he came back
Okay,
from injury, but he only allowed 13 runs in 2023. He's already allowed 12 this season.
okay, okay.
So it's certainly a different version of Devin Williams than we're used to. We're used to probably one of the best relievers of the modern era, and he just hasn't looked it.
Agreed. Agreed. I don't disagree with that. I don't know that I'm not going to use the word controversy because I do not want to be buried under some turnpike when I get out there and all because I said, we got controversy in the Bronx. We do not have controversy in the Bronx. That was Jackson. His address is no, I'm teasing. All right. Jackson, number 2, you ready for this?
Yes, I am.
Paul Skeens comes back home yesterday to LA and says, "Watch this, Dodgers. I'm as good as everybody thinks that I am." And gets 9 strikeouts, doesn't give up a run in 6 of the third innings yesterday. He um, he proved to everybody that he is legit.
Yeah, I think Paul Skeens is just doing what Paul Skeens does. Uh, he's probably, I'm not a gambling man, but a good bet to win the Cy Young this year. Looking at his numbers, he's got a .796 whip, which
Mhm.
for you kids at home from the stats guy, that's really good. He misses barrels. He gets a ton of strikeouts, ton of soft contact. Paul Skeens is one of these arms that you sit down. He's much watch every time his rotation spot comes around. No matter what team you're a fan of, you're just hoping he's not pitching against your team.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's human, but he's been looking superhuman the last couple of months. So,
Yeah, I mean the triple digit fastball with the splinker or whatever he calls it to get the lefties out, and then that nasty slider to get the righties out. It just really seems like a guy. We talk about throwers and pitchers. I feel like Skeens is a combination of both. He throws hard, but he can also pitch because he's got the arsenal to really just keep hitters off balance
yeah,
rather than
100%.
just rather than just blowing it by them. But if he needs to, he can just blow it by you too because he throws 102.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's just crazy stupid, but whatever. I mean, yeah, these guys just they do what they're gonna do, right? And it's all kinds of awesome, all kinds
Yeah.
of all right, my good friend. What you got for number 3?
Let's talk about the other wild, wild west, the American League West, where
Okay.
coming into today, Saturday, all 5 teams are separated by 2.5 games. They're all off to pretty similar starts,
Who's in
and
last place?
it is the Angels. I didn't pick the Angels to win the division though, so
I know everybody that is an Angels fan that's around me. Oh, look, we had this hot start. We're gonna be in first place the whole time. Okay, keep going. I'm sorry, Jackson.
yeah. But It's going to be a wild, wild dogfight. I say it every week. The A's only being 2 games out, the A's are a dangerous team. They literally have nothing to lose. They don't even play in a real major league ballpark. Like these guys are going to show up and they're going to ball out because they have something to prove. It's a chip on the team's shoulder. Funnily enough, you watch the A's play, and these guys look like they're trying to prove that they're a real major league team, which they are. They're professionals. They make the big money. Uh, the Astros are still clinging to life somehow. The Mariners are 2 games above 500. I'm sure they'll finish 2 games above 500. Uh, I'm sorry, Mariners fans. That was an unnecessary jab.
Unnecessary, unnecessary jab.
Unnecessary jab. And the Rangers got off to a hot start, but I feel like the Rangers aren't the runaway candidate. I feel like the American League West is going to boil down to who wins their divisional games, who plays the best against their division. And I know that sounds like the stupid caveman take, but like the divisional games are amplified in a division like this where it's so tight.
True. It's true. We talked about a little bit on Around the Diamond. Actually, in fact, you came up when I was talking with Sam. He says, "Oh, and Jackson predicted the A's would win the division," and we were talking about how you might not be too far off on this. Might not happen, but
It
you
could happen. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. It's not like I'm like, oh, the
Jackson
A's.
O'Damas.
Yeah, the A's are. I'm not saying the A's are going to win 100 games. You might only need like 90 wins to win this division, the way it's going.
The way
So
it's going, you might need 84 to win this division.
yeah, the way they just beat up on everyone. Yeah,
Yeah. So
84 wins sounds like the old 4 team AL West kind of showdowns we used to see in the early 2000s.
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I agree with you. That's this AL Wild Wild West thing is just insane, right?
it, it's just funny.
It's
Another week goes by and they don't space out. They just shuffle,
yeah, yeah, 100%. 100%. Just okay, you go here for the day. You go.
and it's all 2 games, 2.5 games. Nope, still
Yep,
here.
yep. No, 100%, 100%. Um, I'm gonna surprise you with my number three, Jackson. I'm going to surprise you, and I'm going to become the top fan stats guy number two. Let's talk about PCA and Oneill Cruz. Why are we talking about these guys?
Because they hit lots of home runs. I mean, O'Neill
And
Cruz, and
they run a lot.
I was gonna
So they
say,
both
I was
have
gonna say
clutch
they're both
power.
really fast. Yeah,
So I'm at Anaheim Stadium on Wednesday night. O'Neill Cruz hits that bomb out of deep center. And in addition to that, he steals a base. So O'Neill Cruz is somebody that is not a household name in Pittsburgh. Obviously, he plays for Pittsburgh, so probably not a household name. Andrew McCutcheons is who plays for Pittsburgh still. Yes, he's still playing baseball. Um, Obviously, Cabrian Hayes is another name that people know. There's a few others outside of obviously Paul, which we just talked about. But O'Neill Cruz is running at will. He is built like Ellie Dillon. He's like 6'10", weighs about 110 pounds, dripping wet. The dude is built like a track star. I'm pretty confident that they told this guy, they probably recruited him from a high school track team and said, "Hey, can you hit a baseball? I don't even know. Just walk and then run." Um, uh,
what impresses me most is his bat speed, and when he strikes out a lot, but when he puts the ball in play, boy, does that ball fly off the bat.
yes,
I
it
I,
does.
I don't think I've ever seen him hit a dribbler. Everything is a laser.
Everything is, yes, exactly, exactly. And so, then we've got PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, who's
I
also doing the same thing,
was gonna
and
say
he's
no,
playing.
known Dodgers hater. He could.
Yes, yes, he is. Yes, it's hard for me to mention him right now, but he is. He's having a season. He's a young kid. He's having a season. Jackson, I'm sure you got his stats as well, but he is there. He's
I
having
think
a
he
season.
has 4 home runs in 7 games against the Dodgers this year, something like that. 6, 7 games.
I don't need his stats against the Dodgers. I watched him. The But he's having a great season, man. You got to give
Yeah.
this guy a lot of sugar. A lot of flowers, this guy.
It looks like he's living up to that top prospect billing. He's kind of
Yeah.
found his footing. I mean, as long as he plays that elite defense, he's worth fielding every day in center field. I know that's hard for some people to understand that, teams like elite defenders, they save you runs more often than they cost you runs at the plate. Um, if if the rest of your team is built correctly. And if you don't mind me piggybacking off Pete Crow Armstrong, we could talk about the Cubs for a minute here.
Yeah. Before we do that, though, we need to mention
Yeah.
something that we're doing fun.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you say your piece. I
Okay.
that's why I was asking.
Yeah. So I don't
Yeah.
mind if you piggyback it, but we got to talk about the 27 ounce club for a second, right? $27 guarantees you a team in a box break, gets you a $5 off coupon, gets you priority shipping, gets you priority access, 24-hour early access to any of the box breaks we do. Jackson, this this Monday, we're breaking the brand new Tops Heritage box. Not only are we breaking that, but we got a 2021 Panini Prism box, mega box that we're breaking. And if you buy two teams in our box break, this one, you have a chance for a autographed Shane Beaver card. Each team's $10 this week. Now, if you get into the 27 ounce club, and let's say you are a Braves fan like Jackson, which by the way, the Braves are still open for grabs, it's 27 bucks, and you get a $5 off coupon every month. And the two box breaks that we do a month, you get the Braves, whatever it might be. It's a great deal. So I
Scoop up
I love those things.
scoop up some cards.
Yes. Um,
If you're
I
if you're interested in getting the hobby started, it's a good way to start.
yes, or if you're in the hobby and you're
Yeah,
looking for a way just to grab your team, this is the easiest way to do it.
it's the
Right?
easiest way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, Jackson, go take us through the Cubs. Let's talk about the Cubs.
They're sitting atop the NL Central. They're looking really good, and I think, a guy that is going to make a lot of money this next upcoming offseason. Kyle Tucker has been the catalyst for the Cubs this season. Uh, he leads the league in runs. He's played in 27 games because they played out in Tokyo, so he's a little ahead of everyone else. But he's doing Kyle Tucker things. He's got 7 home runs, 8 stolen bases, hasn't been caught yet. Walks more than he strikes out. You know, he's hitting a ton of doubles. He has a couple of triples. And I think, I was maybe wrong in my preseason prediction about the Cubs because Kyle Tucker really kind of completes this lineup. You know, I feel like the last couple of years the Cubs have been missing that superstar bat, and I think Tucker has showed up as advertised. And I don't know if the Cubs will extend him. I Guys that usually start off this hot do not take the extension. um, they test free agency. I would, especially after watching this last year. But I think Kyle Tucker might be the other MVP frontrunner right there with Corbin Carroll, you know, to start off the first month of the season. I won't rule anybody else out because 1 month's 1 month. But if you were to pick an MVP this month, it's probably Corbin Carroll or Kyle Tucker.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that. I mean, Kyle Tucker is doing Kyle Tucker things, and yeah, he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid. Uh, but the Cubs have scored almost 200 runs already this season. They're scoring
Yeah,
a lot of runs. Their plus minus differentials over 40. I mean, they are putting runs up on the board. They put up 18 runs against the Dodgers this last week in a two game set. They scored 11 runs in one game. Now, the Cubs, in typical fashion, are giving up a lot of runs too. They won one game 11 to 10, but their plus minus differential is over 40. So they're not giving up that many runs.
there's one team every year that is the strategy seems to be if we score 10 runs a game, there's no way they score 11 every single time, right?
Right.
And you know what? As a baseball enjoyer, I feel like that is a valid strategy very, very oftentimes because, you're right. Your winning percentage is pretty high when you score like 10 runs. So I'm not one to argue with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. The Cubs are playing well. The Cubs are playing well for sure.
Yeah. And, it is kind of masking their bullpen struggles. They've had most notably that wild game that we talked about last week. against
Yeah,
Arizona. But I think as long as their lineup keeps hitting, they can figure the bullpen out. The bullpen, like I talked, very volatile, hardest thing in baseball to figure out. But like if you can get your bullpen to league average with an offense like this, you're good because you're gonna have a 3-4 run lead every single time. You guys go out and get their job done.
I agree. I agree. So Jackson, on my side this week, I started out with the team Mets, right? Then I went to Paul Skeens manhandling us, and then obviously PCA and Cruz. So I'm gonna go back to a team environment. Hey Jackson, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts when it comes to the Washington Nationals. Now, here's what I'm gonna tell you about this team. Though they're under 500, some of these guys, we've been talking about some of these rookies. James Wood has 8 home runs already, right? In addition to that, um, Nathan James Woods also has 19 RBIs. In addition to that, Kimber Ruiz has 27 hits. Nathaniel Lewis and James Wood have 25 hits. They also stolen bases. They're moving, right? Dylan Cruz has got 6 already. CJ Abrams has got 5. This team is a lot better than the record portrays, but they also have a lot of young kids. Now, do I think that this is their year to shine and that they're gonna make the playoffs? And I mean, they're 12 and 14 coming into Saturday's festivities. Do I think they're gonna make the playoffs? Probably not. Do I think that they are going to be a team that is going to be very, very dangerous in the very, very near future? Yes, sir. Tell me I'm
Uh,
wrong, Jackson.
you're not wrong. The Nationals' only weakness is they have the worst bullpen in baseball. I've talked about bullpens a lot today. I'll just keep on it. I think their bullpen ERA is right near 7. Just off the top of my head, I saw that floated around the other day. Yeah, and that kind of seems to be their only flaw. Their young lineup is performing. Their guys are progressing. The rotation has been surprisingly solid. Um, I think the Nationals, in the next year or two here, might be like I think I've said it before on this podcast. They're the prototypical team you want out of a rebuild. They have a
Mhm.
nice mix of young and veteran talent. They have a lot of guys that have a lot of sneaky speed, guys that can gap the ball, guys that play good defense. And those are the things you want as a team, especially coming out of a rebuild, because you can build your roster around this homegrown talent. If you play good defense and you run the bases well, you win a lot more games than you lose. I'll tell you that.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen a bad team that plays good defense and runs the bases well.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough.
Doing both those teams things at the same time, obviously. I've seen bad teams that do one or the other, but usually if you play good defense and you run the bases well, you're winning a lot of close games.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm gonna agree with you on that. That I
Yeah.
can agree with you on. Yeah.
It it
It's
helps cover your deficiencies in the pitching department. Good defense helps your pitching, and good speed helps you score runs.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I think the Nationals, in a year or two, as a Braves fan, it's going to be really annoying. They're going to be a team to watch, and the NL East is going to get, you know, more of a bloodbath. The hate triangle will become a hate square, as we say.
Hate triangle will become a hate square. I like
Yes.
that. I like that. I like that. Take us into your number 5.
My number 5. Let's talk about closers.
Okay.
Did you
We
know the
talked about
top?
bullpens. Now we're gonna talk about closers.
Yeah,
I like it.
I got a bullpen episode for you today. Maybe that should just be the title, bullpens. Uh,
Bullpens brought to you by
or
Jackson.
or for Peter's sake, the arm barn. I don't know if you remember that article,
The Yarn Barn.
the arm barn. But the top 5 leaders in saves for the American League are all from that American League West. Uh, and I want to highlight one of those pitchers. Kenley Jansen has kind of found new life with the Angels. He keeps doing his thing. I think Kenley Jansen's probably one of the most underrated relief pitchers in baseball history because ever since he left the Dodgers, he's just been quietly continuing to do his thing, racking up saves, pitching well. In 8 games this year, he's got eight shutout innings and a .88 WHIP.
I
He's
can't
got six
believe that you're
saves.
mentioning. Kenley Jensen, but I like it.
Hey, so we focus so much on milestones on this podcast. I think Kenley Jansen is close to. I'm gonna have to check myself here before I say something wrong. I don't have
Uh-oh.
it open. Give me
The
a second.
stats guy's checking himself.
Before I just say a random number that's nowhere near where I want it to be.
Close enough.
Yeah, he's at 453 saves. He's creeping up on 500 saves here, Bill. So, I think he's a Hall of Fame pitcher. Absolutely. I just thought I'd highlight, I highlighted some bad bullpen pitching, but I think I'm going to shout out and give some love to the AL West and the good back ends of the bullpen. The guys locking it down.
Can we just agree that you just shouted out a former Dodger as a Braves fan? Can we just
He's
talk about that?
he's also a former Brave. I always respected him when he was on the Dodgers. He's a very good pitcher. And I like his story that he's a catcher converted to a pitcher. I think those are the best baseball stories where, I think Mariano Rivera played infield and then they saw him playing catch or something like that. And they're like, "How are you making the ball do that?" And he's like, "Oh, you just throw it like this." And they're like, "Get this guy on a mound. What's he doing over here?"
Yeah, yeah.
Kenley
You're not
Jansen,
gonna play shortstop. There's a guy named Jeter that's there.
yeah, and Kenley Jansen was kind of the same thing. He was playing catch, or I think it was throwing down to second base, and they're like, "Why does your ball keep tailing?" He's like, "I throw it like this." They're like, "You're throwing a cutter to second base," and then they put him on a mound. And look at that, Hall of Fame pitcher. I think it's a great story. So
There you
I'm
go.
shouting out Kenley Jansen this week because he's been a horse for the past. He's in year 16 of his career. Really, really impressive.
I like the fact that you're shouting out Kelly Jensen.
Hey, cardiac Kenley.
For my number five, I'm going to be a little bit of a homer here.
All right.
The Dodgers have started out 16-10. Not the, I mean, 6 games over 500. Uh, the National League West is just crazy, and I might mention that in the honorable mentions. What I think is important is in the 26 games, the Dodgers have not had their big three. We'll just call it Shohei, Mookie, Freddie. I think they've only played together 10 times, 10 or 11 times out of the 26. Freddie was out with, his ankle injury. He was out in Tokyo. So was Mookie out in Tokyo. When they came back, still out. Freddie was in, but Mookie was out. Shohei was on a paternity list for a little while. So for those of you that are in the city of angels, city of lights, Hollywood, whatever you want to call it, and you're worried about the Dodgers, first of all, they're 16-10, and I can list you probably 8 different teams that would go for that record right now, including the Braves. Um, I don't I don't know that that's panic button time, buddy. Let's just get everybody healthy, and then we'll figure it out from there. Got a lot of injuries on the pitching rotation. Just let's just take a step, breathe a little bit, and not worry. Jackson, you feel free to tell me things that you don't or that you agree with or disagree with
Yeah.
on this.
You know, I'll say it on the podcast because I say it most every week. But no Dodgers hater here. They're fine. 16-10, great record through 26 games. I think we talked about this before the podcast. The only concern for the Dodgers is Shohei hitting leadoff. You want to talk about a guy who's not getting the opportunities. The Dodgers could be better, and I think shifting Shohei Ohtani out of the leadoff spot might be the ticket. He's only had 16 plate appearances, 12 at bats, with runners in scoring position this year, which is a stark contrast from last year when it seemed like every time he came to the plate, there was two or three guys on, and he was belting a home run. So I don't think I people are like the Dodgers are struggling. The Dodgers are doing what they do every year and is winning 16 out of 26. It's boring. I know it's not fun. Being consistent ain't sexy, but it gets the job done, especially in baseball. So
I agree with you. I think it's funny because out here in LA, people just
it
the Dodgers aren't playing well. And you know what the first thing that people want to say is?
what
Fire Dave Roberts. I hear it all the time, Jackson.
Is Dave
Fire
out
Dave
there?
Roberts.
Is Dave out there handing out the checks to all these guys that are hurt or not
Yeah,
performing well? You know, like, come on,
it's
guys.
it's the lamest thing ever. It's Fire Dave Roberts. I
They're
hear
not
it
going to.
all the time, Jackson, and it drives me up a freaking wall, right?
It comes from people who've never truly watched baseball when your manager's bad. If you want to know how your manager's bad, it's when your manager every move your manager makes is the wrong one. And Dave Roberts certainly makes some decisions sometimes that it doesn't turn out well. But I don't think he's recently, especially recently, has made any moves that I'm sitting here scratching my head going, what is he doing? I know he has that postseason track record from early in his Dodgers tenure where you're like,
Mhm.
what's he doing? What's he doing with this bullpen management in the playoffs? But like at the end of the day, the players have to go out there and execute. So what? The Dodgers are 16-10. They got, 130 more games to play. All these teams have 130 more games to play. It's no big deal.
Very true. Um, okay, so Jackson, I'm actually I'm actually okay. Let's get to our honorable mentions here because I've got a couple of things I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna play a little game. I think we need to add a game to this show, Jackson, and I'm gonna add a new segment called Stump the Top Fan Stats Guy.
Oh boy.
Stump them. So, and Jackson, trust me, Jackson, everybody can handle it. He can pull out statistics for me. It's like, 3 years ago, this person did this, but did you know that left-handers, when the wind is blowing at 26 degrees, like they hit more,
Come
it's
on.
just insane amounts. And back in 1947, and so it's all of these things. So, Jackson, give me your honorable mentions before we play Stump the Top Fan Rivalry Stats Guy.
All right, I got two honorable mentions this week. Liam Hendricks pitched this last week
Uh-huh.
after 2 years out of baseball. Great story. Liam Hendricks, great guy, pitching for the Boston Red Sox. Welcome back to the MLB. And the other one, I'm going to be a homer real quick. The Braves are 11-7 since their 0-7 start.
Yes,
Their offense has been thumping since April 2nd, and it's going to make the National League East that much more dicey. We talked about the Nationals being better than people think they are. The Marlins are off to a surprisingly good start for their roster construction. So I think, the National League in general is just it's a bloodbath. And yeah, I don't like being a National League fan sometimes. It's not a good time. But hey, if you don't like it, you don't like baseball.
that's right. If you don't like, you don't like baseball. Um, My honorable mention is that we are going to start seeing in the month of May, we're going to start seeing rivalry games and we're going to start seeing playoff contending teams. Jackson and I talked about this a little bit on the pre-show. Some teams have not been playing the best of competitors, right? But you're going to start seeing that happening here pretty quick. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. We've griped enough about the scheduling on this podcast that look, in my mind, you should cut down the interleague and it should just be the National League just beats the crap out of the National League all year, and the American League just beats the crap out of the American League all year.
Yeah,
And then by the time the playoffs roll around, you all hate each other enough that the playoffs are really intense. And then you get to the World Series and you're like, who are these guys?
exactly. Exactly.
That's what it should feel like. Who are these
All right.
guys?
All right, Jackson, before we play our game, we have to mention one other thing. You need to get your own personalized baseball card. If you don't have a personalized baseball card, popfanrivalry.com. Go to the team store, submit a picture to us, tell us your favorite player, tell us your favorite team, give us a baseball memory. We'll put it on the back. I don't care. Use it for your business card. Give us your work statistics. Use it for a graduation gift. Uh, give somebody's GPA on the back. Have fun with it. And you never are going to pay full price for that because you're going to use which code, Jackson?
Code Jackson, get 10% off.
How's that spelled?
Jackson, just like
Not
Shoeless
spelled
Joe.
Reddie.
No, I was going to say like Reggie too.
Oh, hey, listen, great
Uh,
minds think alike. So what is our excuse,
the
right?
code this disclaimer: the code Mr. October does not work. Uh,
We were going to make it Jackson like Mr. October, but that was just way too long for everybody to
yeah, yeah,
say.
everybody hates those long discount codes anyway.
All right,
Nice
so
and short, but yeah.
Jackson, we're gonna play Stump the Top 10 Rivalry Stats Guy. Okay, new segment, breaking news on the 26th of April. Breaking news. Jackson didn't know that we were gonna do this, but I've been waiting. We've got a little bit of extra time in the show, and I've been waiting to do this. So, Jackson, I'm gonna ask you three questions. One of them is relatively easy. Um, the other two are not as easy. Um, but let's see if we can't um, stump you a little bit, right?
All right.
Are you ready, sir?
Yep.
Name the player. There has only been one player in baseball history who has hit two grand slams in one inning.
It's Fernando Tatis Sr.
Yeah, I knew you
Fun fact: he hit them off the same pitcher somehow.
Are
So
you
does
wanting to also say the fun fact of
it,
who he
it's
hit it
it's
against, which team?
I believe it was Hideo Nomo.
Yes.
And fun fact, Dodgers fans, if you want to talk about bad management, that is right there. Do not leave your pitcher in to give up two grand slams in one inning. Spoilers. That is a bad move.
Okay. Now, do you remember? Do you remember? Uh, I mean, I remember actually watching the game. It was 1999. I remember actually watching the game.
I've watched the clip. I don't remember it. That's a little out of my
I
memory
was
sphere there.
literally watching. I was literally watching. I think it happened like the first inning or second inning, something like that.
Yeah, it was
A-
early.
And I remember when he gave up the first home run, I'm like, "Ooh, that's gone." And then when he came up with the bases loaded, I thought, "Okay, first of all, this game's pretty much out of hand, anyways." And I thought, "Huh, I wonder if he can do it a second time in the same inning, and what does that look like?" And then, boom! I said, "Oh, well, that's not awesome, right?" And by the way, Jackson, you know what team he played for when he did that, right?
For the Cardinals,
You know who else was on that team?
the 1999 Cardinals.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Mark McGuire.
Yes. Yes. And um, so for that day, nobody was talking about Mark McGuire. They were talking
Oh,
about
that's right. That was in the middle of the home run chase, huh?
mm-hmm.
That makes it even
Yes.
funnier.
Yes. Okay. Jackson, question number two. You got the first one right. Question number
Mhm.
two. When was the last time? I'm sorry. How many RBIs has one player knocked in a single game, and when was the last time it was done?
Like the most all time.
Yes.
I think the record is 12.
Okay.
Am I
You're
right?
right
Am I
on
right?
that.
The last time somebody drove in 12 runs,
Uh-huh.
off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you.
1993. Also with the Cardinals. Mark Whitten. And
Yeah,
so,
that's a
but
nice pull. That's a nice pull.
yeah, 12 RBIs. I'm impressed that you knew that. For some reason, the number 10 stuck in my head until I looked it up.
That's
So,
what the pause was. I was like 10. No, it's 12.
okay, there are three MLB managers with 100 or more ejections in their career. There are two MLB managers that are in the 90s. Can you name all five of them?
So Bobby Cox is number
Hmm.
one.
You think he's number
Uh,
one overall?
I thought he was.
He
I
is
know. I know
by
Bobby
far.
Cox is there. Yeah.
By far, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
got like 153 or something like that.
162. He's been
Yeah,
ejected an entire season.
that's really impressive. Let's see. Other managers that probably got tossed. Earl Weaver's probably on that list.
96. Yes, he's number.
Uh, Sparky Anderson.
Marky Anderson is not on the list.
Okay.
He's number 9, 56 times.
56 time. That's still quite a few. Man. Lou Piniella used to go ballistic. So is Lou Piniella on the list?
Lou Piniella is not on the top five list. Lou Piniella, believe it or not, Lou Piniella is tied for 13 with only
I guess he just made all 64 of them count.
yeah, throwing his hat and kicking dirt.
The kicking the dirt on the umpire's shoes with the Lou Piniella special.
Yes,
Let's see. Other managers who got thrown out a ton.
yes.
I feel like
So, so
Joe
I think
Torre.
you'd be surprised at number five because you don't think about it as this. But keep going, keep going. Let's see where you get with
I want to say Joe Torre or Ozzie Guillen is probably on that list.
no and no, not in the
No.
top
All right.
five. Joe Torre is number 12 with
Yeah.
70. Ozzie Guillen. Wow, that's
He's probably not even close, huh? That tells me I was way off on that guess.
no, he's not even in the top 50. He's actually he's tied for number 62 with 29.
29. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've stumped me on one. Manager ejections are not a thing
Oh,
I review very often.
okay, so I'll give you a chance to redeem yourself and then read you all five.
All right.
Can you name the top two managers with the top two ejections that are still active?
That are still active?
Mhm.
Oh, it's going to be Aaron Boone.
No, sir.
No? I was
No,
going to say
sir.
Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone gets thrown out like once a month.
He's only been thrown out 40 times.
Ah, he needs to pump those numbers up.
Yeah. No, this is going to surprise you
Act
too. This
active managers?
Now, Jackson, let me give you a little hint. Both of these guys have been around baseball a long time. So you need to think that they've been tossed quite a bit.
Bruce Bochy?
Bruce Bochy is the highest active manager that's been tossed. Yes. With 86 total in his career. Zero
Uh,
this year. He almost had one this year, but he did not. I mean,
yeah.
but zero this year, 86 all time.
There's Bochy. Oh, is it Terry Francona, the other one?
You would think that, but no, it is not. No, sir. Terry Francona, if I would have said the top three, he would have been in the top three.
Uh,
He's not in the top two. He's got 50 ejections overall. Bob Melvin is number
Bob
two.
Melvin. Bob Melvin?
Bob Melvin has 64 career ejections. That's
Wow. Could have
that's
fooled
one that I
could have
knew
fooled
I
me.
might get you on.
Yeah. Could have
That's
fooled me.
yes. Okay, so here we go. Bobby Cox number one. John McGraw number two with 121.
Uh,
John McGraw, 41 differential between Bobby Cox and John McGraw. John McGraw died in 1873. So
yeah.
I don't know what he was doing to the umpires, but he was
He was probably physically assaulting them. That's probably what it took to get thrown out of a game back then.
Leo the Limp DeRocher with 100.
Uh,
Rounding that out. Uh, believe it or not, number four was Earl Weaver at number five with 93 ejections. Holy LaRussa.
Tony La Russa.
You would have never got that because I would have
No.
never thought. I would have thought of Leo the Lip because of the Dodger connection, right? I would have definitely got Bobby Cox. I would have gotten Earl Weaver, the famous clip. Oh, you're just out here to f us. Um, I would have never got Tony La Russa. I would have never got
Yeah.
John,
Wow.
and I would have never got Bob. Never, 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 never would have. Because
Bob
Bob
Melvin.
Melvin is such a quiet dude.
I don't think I've ever watched a game where Bob Melvin's been ejected.
Well, this has been a little historical, data for you, right?
Yep. No.
I like the fact I'm a little surprised. So if you go to the top, I'm going to read you the top 16 because some of them are tied. Bobby Cox 162, John McGraw 121, Leo the Lip 100. Earl Weaver, 96. Tony La Russa, 93. Frankie Finch,
Oh, Frankie
88.
Finch.
Bruce Bochy, 86. Ron Gardenhire. I
Ron
can't.
Gardenhire. Oh yeah, that's a name.
Yes, 84. Paul Richards, 82. Clark Griffith, 73. Jim Leland,
Jim Lee.
73.
Oh, Jim Leland would have been a good guess too.
Yes, Jim Leland, 73. Joe, 70. And Joe Torre was just such a quiet guy, at least when he was a Yankee. Clint Hurdle at 64. Bob Melvin at 64. And Louis Pinella at 64. So that's not a bad list, right? I mean, guys that you think, I mean, Tommy Lasorda only had 48.
Yeah.
Some of these guys that you think, which by the way, are you ready for this? Tommy Lasorda had 48. Mike Scioscia had 47. I don't remember ever watching Mike Scioscia get kicked out of a baseball game, but
I
47
I
ejections.
could probably count the number of times I can remember, not like specific incidents, but remember watching TV and seeing Mike Scioscia get ejected.
Well, Don Mattingly has 38. That's that was, I mean, the fact that that number is so high just kind of cracks me up. You guys go from Bobby Cox at 162 to Brian Snicker at 20. So Brian
Yeah.
needs to step up his game a bit.
He's just about to retire, so
Yeah, he needs to step up his game. Snick needs to realize that hey, this game needs to be stepped up. Anyways, Jackson, this has been a fun episode. For those of you that have listened to this, Jackson brought us Corbin Carroll, talked about the bullpens, the American League West, the Cubs, focusing in on King Tuck, and obviously closers with
more
a
bullpens.
nod to the Dodger great Kenley Jansen. Um, talked about Liam Hendricks and the Braves. I, on the other hand, talked about the Mets. I talked about Paul Skeens, Oneill Cruz, and PCA, the Dodgers, and the Washington Nationals. Then we played Stump the Top Fan Stats Guy. We were able to stump him a little bit, but I think he's going to gear up for next week.
Do
I
you want
can
me to
see the
bring?
look in
Do
his
you want me to
eyes.
bring
He's
ones for
gearing
you
up.
next week?
What's that?
You want me to bring ones for you next week?
Sure. Sure, let's do it. I mean, since I got you this week, I'll bring some more for you this week and or next week, and you can bring some for me. That'll be awesome. Jackson, give them that code one more time, just in case they want in get their own baseball card or they want in the 27 ounce club. Give them the code one more time.
Code Jackson will get you 10% off. Jackson, just like Reggie, just like Shoeless Joe. J A
If
C
you
K
know
S O
Jackson's
N.
dad, you'll understand the whole
Yeah.
concept.
Yep.
So we're grateful that Bleacher Brothers has decided to air us as well as on their YouTube page. We are looking forward to having you on our YouTube page. Make sure you're following Top Fan Rivalry on all of the social media locations. And Jackson and I will be back to give you a weekly review next week. Talk to you
Yeah, sounds
soon.
good. Talk to you soon.
Have a good one.